welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. Although currently I am in Norway. I am on my mom's cabin, which I'm not going to tell you where it is, but oh, it's a big bug here. It is in the middle of the mountains and you have to drive quite far to get here, and then you have to walk quite a bit from the car to get here, so it's nice and quiet and far away from everything. And some of you will have seen this cabin before in my Norway vlog from January, and if you haven't seen that video then I strongly recommend that you do. Also forgot to say that you can find me at Skeindeer on Instagram and Ravelry and the usual. There's the Skeindeer Knits group on Ravelry, which you are more than welcome to join. We are having some lovely knit-alongs there right now. There's the Colour Your World Socks Cal, which, I mean, still doesn't have an end date. I keep thinking I should put an end date on, but I keep seeing people casting the socks on, and I want to give everybody a fair chance of finishing. Though I have to say, I think if you do decide to join, your winning chances are quite good, because there aren't that many people knitting them. Because I mean, I have to agree that, you know, doing your first colourwork socks with that many colours is quite the undertaking. But I will say you can go down in the number of colours, and I've seen some excellent versions of that, just using 2 colours, so you can totally do that. So it's not as daunting as it actually looks like. I just want to reassure you of that. And yes, you'll get some lovely Ovis etc. yarn if you win the prize draw for that cal. And the other cal that's going on is the flea cal that me and Kristin of Yarngasm podcast are doing. And that doesn't have an end date either. It's for the flea cardigan, or Damiaka Loppa by Anmire, known as Pinneguri or the Needle Lady. And yeah, just seeing lots of people casting that on and almost finishing it. Some people have finished it, and that's, yeah, amazing. So that's what's going on there. And there is going to be a knit along for the Marius sweater, or whatever Marius garment for a adult you want to make. That doesn't have a beginning date yet, but we're looking at the end of summer, early autumn, something like that. I will let you know when I've decided, but you know it's going to happen. So, and I have talked about eligible patterns. There's a bundle on my favorites on Ravelry that has eligible patterns. You can take the chart and put it on something else that is a garment for your torso at least, but I strongly recommend just going by the patterns there. That's the easiest way. I have to say, you know, the Satin Star pattern, although the Marius is based on that, it will not go. If you've made a whole Satin Star pattern, that's amazing, but doesn't qualify. And I keep getting people sending me, you know, things they want to make that they think is a Marius, and it's not a Marius. There aren't that many variations in the actual Marius chart. I point at myself, this is not Marius either. So just be aware of that. Although I will say, you probably wonder what I am wearing. This is the cardigan that my grandma made for my mum, which is why it lives here up on this cabin. It is a Dale pattern called Sidalskofta, because my mum partly grew up in Sidal, so that's a place in southern Norway. And you can see it's quite similar to the Setesdal cardigan, because Setesdal and Sidal are both in southern Norway. 2 valleys in southern Norway, basically. So there's no wonder why they are a bit similar. Though I don't know how traditional this is, or if this is like a thing that Dale has come up with and named us a Sidal, or if it's a legit Sidal traditional pattern. Anyway, I think it's lovely and I really want to make my own, and if I'm gonna do a slightly educated-ish guess, I think this is Dale Falk yarn, and it's a super wash treated sport DK worsted yarn. I'm not sure because we don't use yarn weights in Norway, and the classifications or on Ravelry is a bit all over the place. I think if I was going to make this, I'd probably use Halo by Dale or Pegint by Sandnes, something like that. I think Cascade is also great. And I want to say that to people who are considering doing a DK worsted weight Marius. Cascade's fine. I think it's really good. I've done a few knits in Cascade, as we will talk about in this episode. And we can just do that right away, shall we? So this is a finished object for this week. It is the Riddari pattern, which is the Icelandic sweater design by Vedis Jonsdottir. But I have put it onto a dog jumper, which is loosely based on the Nordic paws pattern by Drops, which is a free pattern, so it's very easy to modify. I did modify it by going both widthwise and lengthwise, and the stitches I'm taking out for the holes for the legs, because it did just seem really tight, although the previous jumpers I made in that pattern weren't. It just made sense to do that here. And the bottom part is a bit loose, so it's very tight in the front and a bit loose at the back. That's just an error on my part, but apart from that I am very happy with this result. So this is how it's been worn on the little beast, and it was mainly a knit for my dog Cassie, because there is just a special bond between my dog Cassie and my boyfriend Olaf. And some of you will know I made Olaf a jumper in this very pattern for Christmas, and also for summer, because I made it twice. The first one disappeared, so there's that. You will be seeing this on the dog in a bit, I'm sure. But I thought I could talk about the other finished object I have, and this is a project that you've never seen because it took me a day to make. I started the evening before and finished early evening after. So I don't know, it took me 2 days technically. And that is a pattern from Pom Pom. And I've talked about Pom Pom before, and I always said, you know, it's not quite my cup of tea. I love Pom Pom, and I think it's great what those people behind it have accomplished. It's just so admiring, and I wish I'd come up with that idea, you know. I think Pom Pom is great, and you can totally see that by all the other magazines popping up now. They very much follow that tradition. So, and here's Pom Pom, by the way. So, as some of you will remember, I whisked through this magazine with you guys last week, and we found, the royal we came across a pattern by Diana Walla. Is that how I say your name? I'm not sorry, I don't know. So, very much outside of my comfort zone, alright? I managed to find the one Pom Pom pattern that is very much my style. So I used the Prydvevgarn yarn that I showed you last week, which I got from Lily of Nordic Stitches podcast when I won the draw for the kofta long. If you don't know what kofta is, this is a kofta. What I'm wearing here is a kofta. So there's that. It's a particular color work Norwegian cardigan. I think sure the neighboring countries have a similar thing, so it might not just be Norwegian. So I made this pattern, and you can definitely see it is largely I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming, because I know Diana is very inspired by Norwegian knitting traditions a lot. So when I first saw this, I just thought this is an awesome modern take on satin. And this is related to that as well, so I mean that's why this goes so well together really, and I think that's brilliant what she done with that, and it fits me so well. And that is a huge compliment, because hats never fit me well. I can knit them to gauge as much as I like. They don't fit me because my head is huge. But Diana has got several sizes for her pattern, and so I could actually go for a larger size than average adult head, which most patterns do, and that just doesn't work for me. And this definitely does, so amazing. Just, it actually is a bit too long, but joke's on me there, because I added a couple of extra rows here because I measured my row gauge and found I was a bit short. I really didn't need to do that. So yeah, that's the finished object. This is actually the join of the Latvian braid, which I think is pretty good as far as my Latvian braid history goes. So yeah, Prydvevgarn, the largest size of the hoopla hat by Diana Walla from the latest Pom Pom. So I have finally done a Pom Pom knit, you guys. Can't really say I went outside my comfort zone on this one, even though technically going Pom Pom would be going outside my comfort zone. It didn't happen this time, but at least I can say I made a pattern from Pom Pom magazine now. And I just thought I'd turn it inside out so that you can see the lovely, lovely floats. The thing is about making the inside look like that for me is not looking at the inside when you knit it. The only thing I do, and I knit with, so I cut my finger when I was cutting manchego cheese. That was a bit silly of me. Anyway, I hold my yarn with my left index finger, and I have the color over here. If I'm knitting two colors, I have the contrast color over the other side of this little knuckle here. So contrast color goes here, main color goes here, and I just keep it that way. And that is how I get this inside to look like that. Obviously when it comes to float length, that just comes with practice. It looks absolutely dreadful on my first project, and it just gradually improved, and that's basically the best way you can learn it. I hear lots of people turning it inside out and knitting it that way. For me that sounds like a bit of a disfavor to yourself. It will probably prevent you from actually gaining this skill, which comes sooner than you think. So, but if it works for you, I mean, hey, it works for you, that's fine. I just personally wouldn't do that. So yes, my floats, and it's pretty cool when you can turn a knit inside out and it looks equally good on the inside. And the great thing about this pattern is that there's nowhere you need to really weave in your end. There's one spot that I found where it goes over, I think, a 5-stitch repeat, and that's from personal limit. If it goes to 6 stitches of one color, I weave in the float at the back, the middle of those 6 stitches. But if it's 5 stitches, I'm good with that. I'm okay with having a 5 stitch long float. As you can see, it's not too long. You don't get your fingers tangled in there. It's fine. So that's really good. It's really beginner friendly because of that. And that's the same thing for the Buster Beanie as well. But Buster Beanie is using fingering weight yarn, whereas this is using worsted weight. So there's an argument in favor of using this hat pattern for sure. And, you know, all hail Diana for having come up with this lovely pattern. I might go near this pattern again, just saying. So yeah, 2 finished objects. I'm quite proud. I am on a worsted weight small project kick right now. That's really good. So I actually cast on another project. And it is also from pom-pom, because I realized it was a bit ridiculous going into knitting pom-pom patterns, saying I'm like, oh, I'm going outside of my comfort zone, and I didn't. So I thought I would show you that. And I was given this lovely yarn. Sorry, I'm making a mess now. This is where I normally pause my, I don't pause it, but I like just cut out the fetching the yarn bit. But you know what? We're not leaving anything out this time because this is nature. We're going natural. So I got this, which I don't remember what it's called, but it's a merino cashmere blend. And the story behind how I got this is actually pretty cool, and I thought I'd tell you that before I get into the actual project. Because when I got back to Norway, I just, you know, I haven't been to Norway since January, and this podcast was fairly small back then, and I'm just going into this fabric shop, which is actually part of the vlog that you'll see at some point. And then after I've been to the fabric shop, I get a text from someone who's like, was that you I saw in the fabric shop? And I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but turns out she has not just her own yarn dyeing business, but she's hosting what to me looks like the largest knitting meetup in Trondheim. And so this is actually a group on Facebook that you can find there. I'm gonna try to remember to link to it if I can. But yeah, I was just astounded by the number of people that were there. And indie dyers brought their yarn, and there were 3 separate indie dyers there, and they all had their yarns there for sale, and that was super cool. Just my cafe. I thought I was safe from buying yarn there, but I wasn't, so I did buy some, and I did get some. I just didn't bring it here. So that yarn we're gonna have to go over when I get back to London, I'm afraid. Unless I have time to record more while I'm in Norway. I don't think so. But some of the yarn that I was given, I am just not mentioning names because I haven't asked if I can. But yeah, so got these, which is the worsted weight merino cashmere blend. Did I say that? I just said that, didn't I? I don't remember the name. I'll put it here. And it feels so good. And I'm usually a bit hesitant about cashmere stuff because they just fluff and get halo and pill and it's bad. Doesn't seem to happen here. It's pretty good. No complaints there. So what I cast on is the Hohi Locatelli pattern in pom-pom. Never thought I'd knit a Hohi pattern just because it's not my style. Nothing wrong with her at all. Her designs, nothing. I look up to just about anyone who can live off their knitting and be that successful. So just to make that clear, it's just not been my cup of tea. And so for me to actually now knit a pattern of hers, that's pretty, you know, I didn't see that coming. That's my main point. And I have to say, not a criticism of this pattern whatsoever, but I don't think this is a gateway drug to Hohi patterns, because it's a twisted rib all the way. And it's not just a twisted rib, it is a twisted knit and a twisted purl. So this little bit I've done of each is taking me ages. It is so slow. So what I thought was going to be a quick worsted weight pattern is becoming a very, very slow knit that I definitely not finish in 2 days, which I was hoping. I was hoping to have more finished objects, because you know when you're on a finished object kick, that's what you want to do. So they're the bonbon mats, and they kind of look like this. This is the one page that I found, and I don't want to waste time flicking through this magazine, so that's just what we're going to go by. I'm doing the medium size, because apparently my hands are not proportionate to my head. They're quite a lot smaller, so that's that. Needle size 3.25. I think I'm going up quarter needle size just because of my gauge, and I hope that's going to be right, because I'm not sure if the gauge given is stockinette or rib. It should be stockinette, but I just don't trust that anymore. I'm assuming that it's stockinette because Hohi is a pro. So doing my first Hohi knit, you guys. Whoa. I'm glad I'm sitting in this very like traditional Norwegian setting in this cardigan, so you can still believe that I'm true to my Skeindeer self. So I've done another bit of cast on as well as yarn purchase, because I heard that there's a little knit along going on, a Mr. Knit along, and it's being hosted by Tori Seierstad she's got the Tori Rot account on Ravelry, and she's a great mitten designer. She does colorwork mittens a lot, so I really wanted to get on that cal. The problem is that it's a really good cal if you have lots of scraps in, say, 2-ply rustic yarn, which you know I do. Oh, here's the dog, by the way. Hee wearing a little jumper. So that's Cassie. But I have all my scraps in London, and I'm in Norway right now, and the deadline is going to be, you know, shortly after I arrive, so I'm not going to have time to knit them then. So, hey Cassie. So I had to buy yarn. Oh no. So I bought a lot. I was going to buy, what? I think the pattern uses 4 skeins, and I bought 8. So I'm essentially making 2 pairs all at the same time. But I thought I'd show you the colours first, and I have to just dig them up a bit because they're in a pile. So if you don't mind. Oh dear, I'm making a mess already. This is terrible. Bear with me. Sorry if there's fogging on the camera lens. Yeah, a little I can do about that. We're in the outdoors. So these are some of the colours I got, along with that one. And this. So that is 1 pair of mittens, and this is all the PT2 yarn. And it's the equivalent of Rauma yarn. So Rauma Finullgarn, because PT2 is actually now owned by Rauma. So yeah, they're roughly equivalent. And yeah, got these colours. But whilst I was holding these, I was like, nah, okay, so these colours are actually going outside my colour comfort zone. But why don't we go outside my colour comfort zone the opposite direction as well? So I got these, which is just crazy, and it looks like clown barf. So you might want to see what I actually knitted, and I am doing 2 at a time. But then I messed up some of the colour work, so I put them on separate needles, and this is what we have. So, sorry if you're part of this and I didn't warn you about this, but there you go. I have knitted this far on my sort of more neutral mittens, and they're a bit funny because they don't have a thumb gusset. So they're actually a bit tight where they need to be looser, and a bit loose where they need to be tighter, and that's probably a bit of tension issues on my part. Not gonna blame the pattern for that, but yeah. So got this olive green, this dusty pink, a lovely blue, and this greyish white, which I love. It's just, I can't describe this colour, but I just really love it. It has this, it is white, but it's not yellow either. Oh, it's just great. This is my clown barf mitten. I haven't gotten that far on that yet. It's starting to get blue on yellow now, and I'm worried that the Swedish factor on that's going to be a bit too high, the IKEA factor if you will. But I like just the whole mix of colours here. It's just nuts, and I've never really done that before, I think. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm also doing the other 2 at a time. Pulling the skein now, that's not good. So I'm just doing, yeah, 1 from each pair on the same circular, so I'm not twisting the yarn coming out of the same skein, because that's just annoying. So that's just what we're doing now. The royal we as usual. So we'll see how I get on with those mittens. But I mean, at the end of the whole thing, I'm gonna have 2 pairs of mittens, and they're going by really quickly because I just get as much as I can get done per queue. And if I'm up to speed with this, I'm gonna have 2 pairs of mittens in no time. This is why I love Mr. Knit Alongs, and especially the colourwork ones, and especially the ones by Tori Seierstad. I just really had experience with the colourwork mittens I did for her Advent mitten along, because I really didn't have time to make a pair of mittens then, but because I just did a little bit each day, despite all the Christmas knits I had to do, I finished and I had a pair of lovely mittens. Sorry, I'm just looking for my boyfriend because he's looking for one of my dogs. 2 of the dogs are very lovely and they never run away. Amy, unfortunately, should put a lead on her. I don't know why we don't do that, because she just disappears. I mean, she comes back because until like an hour ago we still had her, so she's not been gone for an hour. Sometimes she does, but yeah. So right, I had to change my batteries. The dog is still gone, so she'll come around. She always does, you know, in her own time. She just doesn't respond to her own name anymore. Anyway, we have, again, we're doing the royal we. Sorry, I'm getting ridiculous. I have another project, and it's not that I got very far since last time, but I feel like I should still show you. It is the flea cardigan. Here we go. And I have now, I don't think I had done that last time, so that's the main piece of progress I have done, is splitting up from the yoke to the body and the sleeves. I don't know why I needed so many arm movements to tell you that, but you know, it doesn't help to, it doesn't hurt to emphasize. This is the yoke now, and skeins are falling on the wet dirty floor. Yay! So I got the armholes, and I'm doing something a bit different from the pattern, because the pattern says to just pick up the stitches from the body stitches that you cast on. So for the, you cast on the body stitches, then you pick up stitches from the arm. Now what I like to do, and this is probably better from this side, is doing a provisional crochet cast on both sides, and then kitchen stitch graft these together. I just find that better, and it gives me two ends, one on each side, that I can weave in any potential holes for the underarm. And I think if you Google grafting underarm stitches, you'll get pictures like from Google image search that show you how to do that. I know the pictures, they're like of a blue garment, and it's like a bent darning needle. It's the best thing I can tell you. It's a really, really good guide should you ever need that technique. Aside from that, is same as usual. I'm using Holst yarn, all Holst. Just love Holst Super Soft. I'm really happy with this. I love the colours. Look how far I got on this sleeve. It's just knitting up so quickly, this thing, and this whole flea effect is similar to the effect you get when you knit with striping yarn. Whether you stripe it yourself or you're using self-striping, you just want to get to the next, and it's just a couple of rows until you get to the next, and you get quite obsessed and you just want to keep going. So actually I knit flea patterned things quicker actually than stockinette, just because it keeps me going. Even though I have to look for every, I wouldn't say fourth row. And for those of you who watched, sorry, I had to just turn the camera because the light was just making me very dark, and you have to see what I'm showing you, so there you go. If you watched the last episode, you will remember that I mentioned this yarn from Stoff och Stil, and it's fine wool, timeless fine wool. Sometimes it just says fine wool, I don't know what the difference is there. I got, I think, 6 skeins of this amazing burgundy, and the meter is so impressive. It's 350 meters in this 50 gram skein. Pretty sure I saw the dog there. Anyway, that's really good, and I love this yarn. It's soft. I'm pretty sure it's lamb's wool, if not even merino lamb's wool. It doesn't say merino, but I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. And so I have decided what to do with it, and it is actually the Eleanor Jumper. I was initially gonna knit the Isager. I was initially gonna use the Isager yarn I have, the Isager Highland wool, but no, I don't know, because I feel like if I'm gonna do 2 garments with that, 4 skeins in each, I might be playing yarn chicken. Chances are I'll be fine, but in avoiding that and want to have enough yarn to swatch, I'm just gonna use this and use my Isager yarn on something else, and I've swatched. So ignore the stitch markers, just look at the lovely little swatch I have here, and I'm actually showing you the right way for once. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? So I'm well above gauge with this, but I actually quite like the fabric. And the funny thing is that this design is a vintage pattern, and it only comes in one size, and I just go by bust measurements, and my bust measurement is way larger, not because I am so, you know, gifted. I just am bigger. So I figured if I actually knit by this size and I do an extra lace repeat, so adding just a few more stitches, I'm sorry, if I knit with this gauge and adding one more lace repeat, that would be my size. That's going to be pretty good. And yeah, it's going to be a loose see-through fabric, but I'm just going to wear something black underneath and that will be fine. It's lace anyway, you know, it's going to be see-through, and it's going to be very light, and yeah, I look forward to making that, but probably not anytime soon, because God knows I have a lot of knits already. And here's the thing, I'm gonna knit this for the hipster cal that Jacqueline of Brooklyn Knit Frog is hosting. I feel like I mentioned that, but maybe it's just in my vlog, can't remember, but yeah, it's going in there, because I think it's just such a great initiative to make people just knit what they want to knit rather than what's hyped and trendy and cool and whatnot, that I clearly don't understand, although I had to go at pom pom now. So I just think that's just a great initiative, so that people kind of do their own kind of individual thing. nothing wrong with jumping on the bandwagon. I do that from time to time. It's totally cool, but I really endorse this cowl. I think it's just such a great initiative, so I'm definitely taking part in that. And I'm doing the Eleanor Jumper because at the time that I've decided and announced that I'm going to, it has 22 projects on Ravelry, and the limit is 30 for using this in this cowl. And the bonus I get is using a yarn I never used before, because I never used this yarn from Stoff og Stil. I think it's a Danish chain actually for fabrics and whatnot. So yeah, I am doing that. So the start update there is the 1st of August. No whips are allowed, which is why this is just a swatch for now. I am definitely not gonna, you know, ruin my chances of being eligible for that. Very sorry it got a bit windy now, so if there's any noise that bothers you, there is very little I can do about that because I don't know the weather gods. And yeah, so the yarn shopping, where do we begin? Let's begin with this yarn that's holding my show notes. I decided to get this yarn. I have looked at them before in the Hillesvåg shop in Norway, which is probably my favorite yarn shop in Trondheim. So it's a chain shop that we have, which is for the Craft Society of Norway, and they do yarn. Every shop does yarn, and now they have this, maybe they always had, but I've noticed it now. A 4-ply yarn made of sparso, and I don't know if you know about sparso. I have talked about it earlier, but it's a very old breed of sheep from Norway. It's this very hard yarn, and actually this little skein, it looks like a normal skein, right? It is actually 100 grams. So it just feels very dense. And when you look at the meterage, actually, let's see, it's 160 meters per 100 grams. It looks like a sport to DK weight. Like I could totally do mittens with this, but it's so dense and so heavy, and it's the opposite of everything I like about a pure wool. So I'm intrigued by this. It's gonna be so sturdy. I'm thinking of maybe trying my mitten design in this just to see what happens. I've got a grey and a blue. Very sorry if you're getting awful wind noise, especially those of you listening to this on headphones. Okay, that was definitely the dog or the wind or both. So yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I usually look at the meterage to figure out the weight of yarn. Oh, there's the dog. Oh, she's back. I knew she'd gone that way. Yeah. And yeah, but you can't really figure out the weight going by the meterage here. If I was doing that, I would have guessed this is iron weight. But it's not. It's, yeah, sport to DK probably. So yeah, interesting to try this for sure. That beast, I just want to hug her and strangle her at the same time, you know. I'm not endorsing animal cruelty, just a bit naughty. So the other yarn I got from Hillesvåg is more sparso. Let me just show you that. It's their 2-ply. Now I don't know if you know about 2-ply, but 2-ply actually means 4-ply in terms of weight. So it's a fingering weight, and maybe even a sport weight, but 2-ply is quite common if you are going by rustic yarn, especially in Norway. Hello Amy, have you been far? Oh, you beast. I'm just gonna shut the gate. Animals. Anyway, so I got these. Not sure how I'm gonna pair them. Maybe this way. Maybe this way. And when I say pairing them, of course we are talking about colorwork mittens or something like that. I mean, you can maybe even do socks with these because it's such a hard wool. I usually don't endorse using non-nylon yarn for socks, but this is hard. It's actually called Prydvevgarn, and it's by Roma. So let me just show you there a little logo there. Can you see that? Clearly not focusing because the camera just loves my face, but anyway. So let me just read you the facts. It's got 100 grams, this little skein, and it's got 300 meters. So if you use the 50 gram skein, it's 150 meters per 50 gram. Yeah, 2-ply, like I told you. It's purely Norwegian, and like I said, it's called Prydvevgarn. It actually means, because vev, it's weave, and it's for weaving. Nobody really intended for anyone to wear this, but I surely will. And here's the thing that I want to show you more, because on the way to the cabin we stopped by Husfriden in Serbu, which is your #1 source of anything Serbu mitten crafty related if you want to make your own. And they had that yarn for half price, so I had to get some more. I'm just reaching behind the camera now because it got whoa. So I got more, and yeah, I got 2 grey ones. I love this grey, it's just and kind of just this lovely green, and another red. It's a different red, just saying, and kind of not, it's like a brown, blackish brown. I don't know what it says. Color 610, that doesn't tell you much. I've had people being disappointed that when they go to Europe to shop yarn, they just get that the yarn is, excuse me, numbered rather than named. This is actually quite common in, especially in Scandinavia. Apologies if the wind is loud. I don't have those fluffy microphones that people use. So yeah, it's quite common that they're numbered, is what I'm trying to say. Don't be disappointed. It doesn't mean low quality or anything like that. We just don't name the yarn colorways. So yeah, got these. My rationale is using them in swaps because I have some swap deals with non-Norwegian yarn swappers who have wanted to swap with me. So I thought I could give them some authentic stuff there. But it is quite crazy to kind of like this yarn as much as I do, because it's just hard. It's just compare it to any of the yarns that I normally use, you know, the sort of Prydvevgarn, PT2. That yarn is like buttered kittens compared to this. Like, I don't know about scratchiness, it's just hard. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah, I look forward to trying it. And here's the thing, I went a bit crazier and I got a whole sweater quantity's worth in this amazing color, because you know how I feel about this color. It's a bit too pink for my taste. Haven't really taken it out of the bag, so I don't know if I can show you this properly, but this is the best I can do. It's raining, so I'd rather not get everything here wet, although most of it certainly will be. It's not raining, it's just kind of drizzling. So yeah, I think the lady in the yarn shop thought I was a bit nuts for wanting to do a garment with this yarn, but hey, that's how you learn, I guess. And I'm thinking, you know, if this is like, you know, your usual rustic yarn, then it will soften up with time. It might need a lot of time and a lot of wear, but at least it's going to be able to withstand a lot of wear. So yeah, it's going to be fun to try. I don't know what to do with it yet, but I will probably do some kind of cropped cardigan. I don't know about color work though. It doesn't seem to be that bloomy, so I don't know if color work is the thing for this kind of yarn. Be happy to hear what people think about that, if you think it's sticky enough and that it doesn't matter so much that it's not that blooming. I just have no experience with this yarn, so I'm just happy to hear what you guys think there. But I'm just, yeah, excuse me, I'm just super happy that Husfriden in Trondheim and as well as Sarbu are doing this yarn. It's possible that Sarbu are selling it for half price because they're no longer going to, because it certainly is a very soft for the particularly interested kind of yarn. But I'm very happy that it's now appearing in the regular shops and in an amazing array of colors. And I actually got some color charts from Rauma, but I left those back in Trondheim and I'm gonna bring them to London, so I'll show you that then. And if I forget, I'm sorry, you can just remind me. So, more yarn shopping. I actually picked up some more yarn because in the grocery shop in Sarbu, the shop Kiwi, they have yarn as well. They've got some lovely Viking yarn. And the reason I'm sort of showing you this is actually because it's a funny story. I'm buying this for my friend Carola, who's having the podcast that is recently changed name to, I think, Psychic Knitship, but it used to be What Makes My Soul Happy or Heart Happy. Anyway, she wanted me to get her some yarn. Well, I asked her if she wanted, and she sent 3 skeins of this. And you are looking at 2 skeins because apparently I thought I'd lost the 3rd one somewhere on the marsh here, but I apparently never bought the 3rd one. It must have fallen out of the trolley because it was pretty packed with food. So I'm gonna have to go down there and buy the 3rd one if I can make it before closing hours. So there's that. Some Nordlys by Viking in amazing Northern Lights inspired colors. Thus the name Nordlys Northern Lights. And more yarn. Some of you will remember that I bought this yarn and I mentioned that in the last episode, and I realized this is not going to be enough for 2 socks. It's going to be enough for 1. So I got another skein in the same colour. The reason why I'm mixing up my words is because when I was going to get another one from the navy, I did not get navy. They were out of navy, so I don't know what to do here. I might just do like blue toes and heels and then this be the rest. It's going to be a Mary sock, and I got red and white yarn for this, which is in Trondheim. Sorry, my dog is barking. She wants to go inside, but she needs to dry up a bit first, I think. But I am done with the yarn haul, which means I am done with everything I want to say in this episode. And there are probably lots of other extra footage here from the cabin and whatnot, and it's not focusing, oh dear. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for bearing with me while I am messing up my English because I am not in the UK, and the wind and the dog and everything, and I'm just gonna go inside now before it starts raining on all my things and my precious camera. So I hope you will have a good week until I see you next time. Bye. Hey Cassie, look how handsome you guys are.
Hey Cassie, Cassie, hey, hey. Tug of war, my stick. Now, I know if I throw it, you're not going to bring it back to me.
She might.
No, Amy, go. Amy.
No, she won't.
Just, whoa. Amy. Cassie. Oh, she's so good. Cassie. Quick, Cassie. There it is. Good girl, Cassie.
Oh, jumper pals.
Jumper pals. Cassie, if I throw this stick, Cassie, you can actually see where it lands. Look, watch this. Watch carefully. Whee. Oh, you found it. Good girl.
Oh, yeah, jumper pals.
Cassie. Whee.
You're such a good beast.
Amy, up. You're going to have to hop higher than that. Oh, good girl. Now, take it off and chew on it. Cassie. Oh, you piglet. Oh, Cassie, I love you. But Cassie, we're going to be on the internet. Do you know what the internet is, Cassie? We were very popular on the internet. There was a photo of us in our jumpers. You don't care about the internet, do you? You care about cuddles, food, and having your ears rubbed. And naps, especially naps.